You ever start a sentence and have no idea where you're going with it? Like you just start talking and rambling and suddenly you're spiraling into what is essentially incomprehensible nonsense to the point where you're basically speaking another language. Which reminds me of this trip I took one time to Belgium. You see, I went there because I heard they had really good pancakes. So I was like, yeah, I'll be the judge of that. So I hopped on a plane to go see for myself. So I turned to him and I said, the pancake industry is in fucking shambles, sir. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about. And then he started talking to me in a language I didn't even understand. It was probably Polish or something. And so I told her exactly that. I said I thought the shoes would look better painted red. And she was like, F you. And I was like, you know what, bitch? If the shoe fits, wear it. And she was like, I don't want to because you painted them red. And besides, Portugal wasn't even really that bad. I mean, I ran into this very nice old man who went on and on and on about how the US should get rid of the penny, and I could do nothing but just sit there and listen to him. And he actually brought up some really good points. But I was like, man, we're in Portugal. Why do you care so much about US currency? And because I don't speak Japanese, I had to hire a translator. And I don't think they were very good because they kept telling me how this lady down the street is having a drugs party. And I was like, man, I just want some pancakes. You know what I mean? You ever do that? I started a sentence like,
let's launch a new game, and you know what that means.
I sure do! I truly doing God's work.
You know, one of my favorite things about a new game is going into it as blind as possible. I may see the first trailer, which will just make me aware of the game in general and what it's all about. And if what I see gets me excited, like ready to walk out the door, get in the car, and make a poor financial decision excited, then that'll be enough to make me want to avoid everything I can about the game before its release. I mean, I know what I like, so it's pretty easy for me to judge whether or not I'll like a game based on its first trailer. Depending, of course, on what that trailer shows. If I don't see enough to fully grab my attention, then I'll either give up on the game entirely, or I may watch a couple more trailers to see if it can grab my attention. But for the games that excite me without even trying, I'm going into those suckers blind. That is, of course, until... Ow! Oh my god! Why the f*** would you do this? Humanity!
For as long as entertainment has existed, there have always been people that just can't help but come along and ruin all the fun. Spoilers are the name of the game here, and I am not a very big fan of them. Just like how most people aren't a very big fan of chicken pox, but they'll go out and get it anyways.
A spoiler is when someone tells you what happens in a movie, show, book, game, really any piece of media before you experience that thing for yourself. And most people don't find them fun because most people like to experience things for the first time as they were meant to be experienced. It's no fun to go into a game or movie knowing what happens, who wins and loses, who lives and dies, all the twists, because at that point, why even watch or play it? I mean, sometimes it doesn't really matter, some games don't have stories at the forefront, but some games really do focus on telling a compelling story and getting you invested in the characters so that if one of them doesn't make it to the end or is revealed to be evil or something, you care that much more. And games without deep stories can have new powers or items or secrets that weren't shown in any of the trailers, and finding that stuff after already knowing it exists kinda deflates the experience of finding it.
It's just like, who even benefits from spoiling things anyways? Like, the people that spoil things only get to walk away knowing they ruined everyone else's days. Like, go spoil the end of the dictionary for someone and tell me you're happy with your life.
Yeah, I'll say this. To an extent, I understand why spoilers happen. Because discussing media with other people is fun. Being able to share your thoughts with other people is fun. Being able to have a conversation about something you enjoy is fun. But it's a lot harder to give your whole thoughts on something without talking about everything that happens in it.
Now, in my opinion, there are two main ways for things to get spoiled for people real quickly.
Number one, the game is ass old. The longer a game is out, the more people that will want to talk about it. They want to give their thoughts on a game when they play it. And more people will just throw their opinions on a game or a particular moment in that game out there, which will make it increasingly more difficult to avoid spoilers. And another thing is that the longer a game is out, the more people will just assume everyone has played it, so nonchalantly mentioning the big plot points becomes a lot less of a big deal.
I have a counterpoint to this, however. I was born yesterday.
Your argument for spoiling a game can't be, it's a blank-year-old game, you should have played it by now, because some people are very young and have not played it yet and would still like to be able to experience it firsthand. Now, there is something to be said about letting children use the internet and how much they should be allowed to see, and I'm probably not qualified to talk about that stuff because look at me. Do I look like the kind of person to be a part of the whole having children fandom? But even still, some people that aren't children don't get around to playing games for a while. With the constant release of new games, it's hard to get to everything, and it's unfair to assume everyone's played a game just because it's old.
You guys are lucky I was able to go into Final Fantasy VII spoiler-free, because I would be in a much worse mood right now if I didn't.
Number 2, cultural impact. Some games are just absurdly popular right out the gate. Some of these make sense, long-awaited titles from the big publishers that everyone has been dying to get their hands on. And some of them are from smaller indie teams, so it comes as a bit of a surprise when they blow up in popularity. But regardless, when a game does blow up, you get thousands of people playing it and talking about it online to the point where it becomes borderline impossible to avoid spoilers. The argument becomes, it's the hottest new game, how have you not played it yet? Which is essentially the main problem with spoilers. Everyone kind of just assumes you've played a game, so you know what the big spoilery things are that happens in it. And if you haven't, then they assume that you don't care, or it's already been spoiled for you. And so people just casually mention big spoilers for games left and right, which is unfair to the people who still haven't played the game and want to. Not everyone has unlimited free time to play the hot new games and the old games that everyone just expects everyone else to have already played, and yet they get punished for it anyways.
Well, there's that, and there's people that want to watch the world burn.
So for whatever reason, some people are just obsessed with posting videos to the internet day one when a game comes out that pretty much spoils everything about the game. And they put spoilers in the thumbnails and spoilers in the titles, and I have just one question for these people.
Please stop doing that.
What the hell is even the point of doing this? Like, why do you feel the need to go out of your way to make sure everyone sees spoilers? Like, nobody wants to see all the bosses of a game or the final cutscene before they get to them. So why on earth do you proudly present them like a pathetic, pompous pain in the posterior? On a similar note, another big form of spoilers that are really annoying to deal with are leaks. Leaks for new events, leaks for new games, leaks for new things in those new games, and there is no point to any of it. Literally, leaks just get everyone's hopes up about something, people could start taking leaks as facts, and then it'll build up their hype. And then one of two things will happen. The thing never comes, and people are frustrated because they got their hopes up for no reason, or the thing does come, but it's a lot less exciting because it got leaked beforehand. It's just, why leak things to begin with? All it's going to do is give you a little attention on the internet, but at the end of the day, it's just going to make everyone mad regardless of the outcome.
Like, it's just more exciting when a new thing is revealed and no one's expecting it. You think about stuff like Super Smash Bros. And its character reveals and how crazy people go when a new character is announced. And if those characters got leaked beforehand, then that excitement wouldn't be there, and the reveals just wouldn't be as special. And I would have more things to whine about.
Now, there comes a couple counterpoints against people who complain about spoilers, and the biggest one is, stay off the internet? Well, you got me there. But I mean, come on, I need my dopamine, and the only way to get it is to scroll through my social medias and see hundreds upon thousands of posts of endless complaining. It's not my fault if a spoiler for something slips its way in there. Another argument is that, who cares?
Alright, fine, let's talk about that.
Different people have different tolerance for spoilers. Some really don't care and may even go out of their way to spoil things for themselves, and other people, such as myself, have an incredibly low tolerance for spoilers and refuse to hear anything that even smells like one, and if we do happen to anyways, it pretty much ruins our mood for the rest of the day. Hell, I'm so stingy about spoilers, I won't even listen to a game's soundtrack before playing it because I consider listening to the music for the first time outside of the game to be a spoiler.
Actually, that makes me wonder, is there anyone out there that has any oddly specific things they don't like to get spoiled about? I'm genuinely curious. I want to know if there's someone that gets mad when the main character's name gets spoiled for them. Fuck's sake.
See, the thing about spoilers is that while they suck for pretty much everyone, they're not gonna go away anytime soon. It's impossible to know who has and hasn't played a game, and it's not fair or realistic to tell someone they can't talk about a game just because some people haven't played it. although it would be nice to be a little more sensitive about it. Just giving a spoiler warning before you talk about any big plot points, regardless of how old the game is or how many people you think have played it, is just respectful for the people that want to go into a game blind. Oh, and also, stop making obnoxious spoiler videos and stop leaking things while you're at it!
Like that. What if I did that? You see what I mean about starting sentences and not even knowing where they're going? I just realized I went this whole time without even mentioning cars once. Which is a whole other can of worms that I'm not going to get into. Actually, you know what? Yes, I am, because it's relevant. You know what? This reminds me of that one time when I went to... Which, of course, because we stopped paying attention, the tiger leaked at us. So the guy threw his ham at it, which did absolutely nothing, so he dove behind a rock, and I would have died if it weren't for the fact that I had 12 shots of vinegar 5 minutes earlier. So I ripped the spoiler off his car and smacked the tiger with it. And the moral of the story is, whenever you're in Thailand, don't talk to anyone claiming to have your long-lost great-aunt's fortune.